So hopefully you can see my screen there, and thanks very much for having me. When Elsa was talking about panic-gogy, it really struck home because I started this role in March last year. So I've been there swinging between those things. So I'm going to speak to you today about two of the different things that we have done in CDETB over the past number of years to enable our learners to be leaders and guides for our educators. So the first one I'm going to speak to you about is going to be this technology enhanced learning mentoring support system that we have in place, which involves educators mentoring other educators in embedding inclusive pedagogy and TEL tools into their classroom. And the other one then is to do with the involvement of our educators on the AHEAD UDL badge this year. So,
Carrie, sorry to interrupt you. If you want to just put that maybe on the slide share, just on the full screen, just because I can just see the little bit of text underneath the slide, just to let you know. We can see the slide, but just, yeah, that's perfect.
So, oh, you don't want the subtitles. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so our technology enhanced learning mentoring support. I'm not going to talk you through the whole model because it's actually quite complex. It's a 10-step model, but there's some key parts in this that involve the students. So as an educator, if I'm mentoring somebody else, I go in and I teach a class for them. And as part of that, a really, really important part is getting student feedback at the end of the class on what they felt was good about my teaching, what they thought I could do much better, what they think, how they were engaged with the tools that were being used. And then that guides the use of the tools or the use of that particular strategy or approach moving into any other future engagement with the learners or teaching activities into the future. I then do a team teach, so I get some more training, and then I do a team teach with my mentee. And as part of that, again, the students give feedback on what it felt like to have two different teachers in the classroom, what they thought went really, really well, what they think we could have done better, and tell us how they think we should approach the next classroom that we're going to teach. And then I've got my mentee that I'm working with who goes and implements some of the things that they've learned through the whole system and based on the feedback that their students have given them. And again, the students give them feedback on how well they've managed to embed and use some of the TEL tools that I, as a mentor, have taught them. So what we found is that it has taken teachers standing up, telling their students that they're learning alongside with them, where they're being brave, they're being really vulnerable, and they're being exposed, and the impact that that has had on the learners. So the learners give feedback at the end of it, and I'm not going to speak you through every single piece of the feedback. But what it has done is it has given students a sense of empowerment and some ownership in helping to shape how they want their teachers to approach their classrooms. So they've been able to feedback when they felt involved, what they didn't like about the lessons, what they thought was really engaging, and being able to kind of say, rather than listening only. So even that piece has a lot in it that they have just maybe been listening to us in what we're doing. They're making suggestions about what the teacher can do to improve their experience and telling them which parts of it help to keep their attention, which was really, really interesting. And it shapes how the teacher is going to improve their own approaches to what they're doing. We allow the students to celebrate what they've done really well. So, and kind of how they've engaged with it. So they're able to celebrate what the teachers have done too. They're able to tell them when something was really organised and it was fun, but they're also telling them how it has benefited their own learning. They're talking about whether or not they liked being part of a group. So if they were doing group work, so even using Nearpod or different TEL tools, they're telling them that. And they're telling them which types of assessment they enjoyed when they're even doing assessment for, of, and as learning. The next thing that we had was our UDL. We've 76 of our staff members in CDETB are now our UDL badgers. So they completed the UDL badge with AHEAD. And a key part of that was that they had to take a part of their practice and redesign it. But they needed to do that in cooperation with their students. So the students knew that the teachers were doing these particular courses. The teachers went in, and again, they were being brave and vulnerable and exposed, and asking the students to help them to improve their practice, all encouraging teachers to think through the lens of inclusion. So there's one particular college, Coláiste Dúlaigh, on the north side of Dublin, who have implemented a fantastic innovation with their social care course. So it's a 2-year course, and I'm going to show you a video of a student who was part of that. This particular student is, she's visually impaired and she has dyslexia. And in the second year of the social care course, a number of the teachers did the UDL badge. And what they decided to do was they were going to teach the students what UDL was, and they were going to encourage the students to UDL all of their approaches to working with their own clients when they went into social care. They also got the students to create resources to teach other teachers who didn't do the UDL badge about UDL and what it was. So I'm going to play a recording, just a short piece of a recording from Jasmine. If there's a problem and you can't hear it, just let me know. Jasmine, I heard you speak at a conference last week at the APALE conference, and you spoke about how your teachers used universal design for learning. So I want you to tell me how you know about universal design for learning.
So in our personal and professional class, we had to actually study the universal design for learning, and just put it into like perspective for when we go out with social care like that, our clients might not like take up something the way that we would want them to interpret it. So we kind of have to work as a team and figure out like a way that like to kind of cater for how individuals will like what their learning style is like, rather than just basing it off like of a general basis.
You and your classmates, did you get a lot of say in how you were going to do things in your class?
Yeah, the majority of the time. Now for like certain things, like for in communications, we had to do like the likes of an IT essay, so you can't really have a say on how you want to present your work. You have to do it in an essay format. But if there was an option for us to kind of present our work in a different way, like the tutors would always make it clear, like, oh, you can either do this in an essay format if you prefer to just write about everything you know, or you can do it as a presentation or a reenactment, just once you're able to get your information across.
So I think that's a particularly powerful way for the students, or for them to have shown how they help to lead us and to guide us in how we approach. And I heard, sorry, and then the very last one was we did a review with all of our TELMS mentors about the really interesting and surprising things that they learned from their students. And one of the outreach learners said at the end of it, she just said, "Madeline, thank you for letting me learn." And I thought that that was a really, really powerful way to finish how we have engaged our learners and helped them be our leaders and guides.